Hi, my friend. It is my turn. Today is a jury duty day for me. And yeah, it's my turn to do this. So here we are, Tuesday tea. But I don't have my tea today. I have my water. I don't want to have tea until later on this afternoon. Once I get back, I have to go this morning at 12:30 my time to a local courthouse. I'm glad it's not far, far away. But I'm going to tell you, I don't dislike jury duty. Let me tell you why. The first time I actually was a juror, I learned so much. Well, first of all, even before you are become a part of before you are selected as a juror, I just love watching the whole process of how they select you as a juror. I love how when they come together in the court that what do they do? So you have these questions, you get to see the defendant and have a little bit of like, here's what the case is about, not in depth, just like, maybe a couple of sentences about that. And then you meet the lawyers, both sides, the judge, and then they ask you, because you got to be impartial. Do you know the judge? Do you know the defendant? Do you know either of the attorneys? So I think that was really cool. Have you had experience in whatever the situation is, whatever the case is going to be about? Has that affected you? Because they need someone who's going to be partial. Well, 12 someone's who's going to be partial. And so then they have the questions, and you have all these questions that they ask you. And I don't even remember it because I haven't even been, it's been a few years now. I don't know, maybe 5 years since I've had to go in. So I can't remember like all the specifics. I know I had to go in during COVID at some point, but I can't remember how it was. But it was all these questions, you got to answer it. And so then you've got the lawyers, both counselors are looking like, do I want that person? And taking notes, because they want people that's going to help them win, both sides. So they're all selecting their people. I just love the whole process of it. I think it was just so cool. And then as a juror, to be on the case and to be able to see how the two lawyers work, so intriguing to me. It's just so intriguing. And then, like when we have breaks, and I was on the case for a couple of days, and so, or maybe 3 days, and it was like when we have breaks, they were have lunch together, the two lawyers. I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. I always kind of thought of them as being like opponents to each other, right? Like, yeah, I'm not hanging out with the opponent. But of course, when you play sports, of course, I know very little about sports, but I'm sure the opposing teams, they're like friends, right? I don't know, basketball players, what the Lakers, and I don't know, I can't even think of another basketball team. There's a team. What's the one with the red? Never mind. There's probably a whole bunch of them with the red. The Bulls. The Bulls. Okay, right. So like the Lakers and the Bulls, they play together. I'm sure they have relationships with each other and friends with each other. But on the court, on that basketball court, they've got to bring it. And like now we're opponents on the court. So it's kind of like the same thing in the courthouse. Like the judge, the two lawyers are opposing and fighting in the courtroom. But outside the courtroom, it's a whole totally different thing. I'm like, that is so intriguing. So today's my first day in. You just said it was a holiday. So my first day in. So I'll see if I get to see that process again. And if I don't want to say this time get to be your juror because I've always liked that part, but I don't know. Now I think about how like all the evidence is never presented, and so then I've been getting to feel a little stressed, like I'm only supposed to give my input based on what's presented, but there's so much that's not presented, and like somebody's life could be on the line, or their future in some way or the other could be on the line. But I just think that it's such a fair system. It's not a perfect system. By no means is it perfect. But, we can't have perfection on this side of heaven. We just can't. It's just, we're imperfect people, every single one of us. And so, of course, anything that we put together is never going to be perfect. But I do like the fact that we get to participate in a civic duty, because not all of us are in the military, or not all of us are on a police force, and not all of us are in other arenas where we get to serve. And so here's a way that we get to serve. So there's the get to. And also, it is part of the Constitution. We want people to have a fair trial, as fair as it can be in an imperfect world. Because especially when you have something with circumstantial evidence, it's like, but what if there's still that area where it's just circumstantial? Doesn't mean that that's how it really was, the way the lawyer would present it. And I think really, as much as I've always loved doing that, this system of being a juror, I think I've been affected because I read this book recently by John Grisham called The Widow. And reading this book as a juror, I would be like, yeah, this guy is guilty. Every single circumstantial evidence pointed to him. Yeah, of course he did. But because I was a reader of the book and I saw he wasn't, responsible, that he really didn't do it. And so I think that's a part that makes me a little bit uneasy right now. But again, it's an imperfect world, an imperfect system, but it's like one of the best systems, I think, in the world. And it is part of our constitutional rights, that we do this, and that we have people do, like I said, a fair trial. It keeps the government from taking over total control and, being tyrants or dictators. So I like that part. So anyway, I don't even know what happens today. I don't even know if I even get out of that first room to go up to be part of the juror selection, but it's my day. It's my turn. So then let me know, what is your opinion of this? Do you try to get out of jury duty? Like, I never try to get out of it. I never try to get out. And I feel like if I'm called, then God wants me on that case for a reason. But I never try to get out of it. But let me know about you. Do you try to get out of it? And no judging. Everyone has their own opinion and their own ways, and what works for them. So let me know. Do you try to get out of jury duty? Do you like being a part of it? Do you like that whole selection? Like I was telling you about how they kind of like looking at you and trying to pick the right juror. Do you like being in front of the judge and hearing the whole system and how it works and the questions that they got to ask you? So I don't know. Tell me your opinion. What has been your experience with being a juror or not being a juror? Just curious. Would love to hear your opinion of this. All right, guys. Have a great Tuesday, and keep me in your thoughts and your prayers as I go in and find out what's the next step for me in this process. Bye for now.